Ka tiake rai e te whakaminenga kei runga. Ko aku mihi katoa, kua tukuna kētia ki roto i tō tātou nei whare tūpuna te aroha te Waipounamu, no reira. Aku mihi ka waiho ki reira, ko tāku i tēnei wā e aro atu ana ki tēnei o ngā kaupapa. Hoi anō, tēnā tātou e hui hui, ngātahi nei te rānei. So, kia ora everyone, my name is Kiley Nepia. Like you all, I wear a number of hats, and one of them is the manager for Omaka Marae. And I appreciate that this is probably one of the hardest spots to get. So I want to thank Cousin Lee for giving me the spot to be able to speak in front of you today. But whānau, I know that you're probably too busy worrying about your Facebook status, or what is hakere, or who is the entertainment going to be tonight. But I really want to engage with you. So I thought the best way to do that is I'm going to bribe you. So, ane waku bribes. These are my bribes. I have 2 prize packs of the Manake gift pack. And I'm going to give those away. And the way that I'm going to give those away is that at the end of my presentation, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. 1 question per pack. Ka pai? Ka pai, ka pai. So like I said, I'm really humbled to be standing here in front of you, and whilst it's me giving the presentation, it's not me that really does any of the mahi. But I just want to acknowledge everybody and everybody that stood here today, and the legacy that you bring to Te Pūtahitanga. So I'm here to talk to you about Omaka Marae, in particular our strategic vision of Pāora Pāwānanga. Pāora Pāwānanga is whānau transformation Omaka Marae stylies. Whilst this is a recent initiative and a recent strategic plan vision of ours, this is most definitely anchored in the legacy of Omaka Marae and everything that it stands for. Pāora Pāwānanga, a thriving centre of cultural excellence. So before I talk to you too much around the strategic plan, I want to go back and I want to take you on a journey around the development of Omaka Marae. And just to provide a little bit of context for you, so that you can just understand a little bit of where we're positioned in terms of our place in our space. So Omaka Marae was established in the late 70s as a place for local Māori, as a place for Māori to honour their dead, and a space for us to reconnect to our culture through arts and te reo Māori. Just the first part itself is really huge. We actually weren't able to honour our dead properly. We were taking them into those urbanised houses that we were all brought up in, and those things in terms of noa and tapu and aroha just weren't able to hit the bar that they were supposed to. So I toko ake te whakaaro kia tū mai tētahi whare, ko te hunga mate te tino kaupapa. Bearing in mind too that this is very much the microwave version. If you want the extended version, I'm always at the marae. During this time, the strategic vision was to build the first carved house in Te Tauihu. Many people came together to work tirelessly to realise this dream. Omaka Marae started as a barren paddock, which had nothing but big rocks in it. Me, my cousins, my brothers, my sister, we got to know those rocks intimately. As every day after school and the holidays, we would go and fetch those big rocks, and we would put them into piles with other big rocks, and then we would make another big pile of rocks with these. So what we were really doing then is that we were starting to prepare the ground for what was to come. And those of you that came up to the marae this morning for breakfast, you were able to witness. A lot of people go, oh, you got some flash buildings, and they think that we moved into those flash buildings, but like I just said, Omaka Marae, where it stands today, it was a barren paddock. In fact, we only got it because no one else wanted it. This was a time where the marae was very busy, where the young, the old, Māori and non-Māori came together under the banner of kotahitanga. I was a young boy during this time, and I was privileged to be groomed and mentored by many various tribal leaders from here and both far away, and kaumātua, many of whom have passed on. And then in 1983, something beautiful was born. The opening of Te Aroha Te Waipounamu. 1983, an article here. Now that's Te Matatini. This is our opening day with many of our whānau. Again, a lot of these people have passed away. Down on the bottom left is our matriarch, Nana Kath, ki te nuinga, Auntie Kath. You've got Auntie Lexi Starkey in there. You've got a whole front row of people who were a little bit younger then. Uncle Rua McDonald with his cool shades on. Mum, Kay, Liz McWhinney, Shirley, Kimu. And so again, it was a time of development for our people, knowing too that when we went to build a marae, we didn't know how to build a marae. And I guess that's one of our biggest things that we've learned is that kaupapa matua or big events that really scare you, those are the things that grow you. And so you have to be able to step outside of your comfort zone to be able to do some of those things. Another big milestone in terms of us as a people, us as a marae, and a kaumātua, just to attach my kōrero to what Dr. Meihana talked about today, was the repatriation. Te whakatiki o ngā tūpono o te wairau. My small role in that was to develop the escort, te whare tūtaua, te whare whakatiki. And then when the leadership of that time came to me and asked me, we're going to go home, we're going down to Christchurch and we're bringing them home, can we do it? Of course we can. I don't know what that looked like. But again, these kaupapa matua, these momentous occasions, they make us great again in terms of learning and developing. So while Omaka Marae, like every other marae, like every other legacy, like every other kaupapa that has been driven, is driven by the unity and the collective, there is always one leader who stands out to lead the people. And for us, it was this lady here. Our kuia, the matriarch, the late Kath Hemi, she led her people and challenged the status quo. Whether it was for the marae or whether it was for her iwi, she always dreamt of the promised land. Just to provide an insight to this woman, for those of you that don't know, these are some of the words that have been said about her. There are some that I couldn't say, but we'll stick with these ones. She has been referred to as exceptional. Mayor Alistair Soman called her tough and persistent. She was known as the Helen Clark and Hillary Clinton of Rangitane. Sir Doug Graham called her a modern-day biblical Moses who had glimpsed the promised land, a pocket battleship who fought for her people for decades, determined and tenacious and not to be underestimated, a woman of great character and great strength. Hoi anō, to the most of us, she was either known as Nana or Auntie Kath. Many of our local leadership was groomed and schooled through the school of Kath Hemi. Very few of us passed. And you knew that you were really in trouble when she would start to pick imaginary fluff off her sleeve, looking at you sternly. So over the years, the marae hosted numerous local, national and international hui for Māori and non-Māori and other Indigenous people. And the marae, like all marae in the area, was thriving. Then in the late 90s and leading into the 2000s, two things had an impact on marae life. First was the treaty claim, and we became iwi-centric rather than marae-centric. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying that's a thing. The other thing that is that our people became time poor, and being of service to your marae was no longer a priority to our people. So for the next few years, the marae ticked along. And then in November 2010, another life-changing event happened, and our matriarch, our grandmother, passed away. This picture here is actually of her signing the deed of settlement for Ngāti Apa ki te Rātō 2 weeks before she passed away. Before we had the official ceremony at the marae, Chris Finnison rang through and said, how about we have a nice little ceremony for her in hospital, because she was at hospital at that time. So before we went up to Omaka, the immediate family got to spend some time with her. That night, after the deed was signed and I went back to stay with her for the night at the hospital, she was really thrilled, and she just kept on saying, oh, so how did the day go, and oh, who was there, and what was served in the kitchen, and all those type of things. So it was really a great day for her to be able to celebrate that, even though she wasn't there. So when she passed away, this also gave us a time to reflect in terms of what was our commitment to the marae. Did we actually want to still be part of marae life? Was it still relevant to us? She was no longer here to hold us accountable or to give us that glare of disapproval. So we started to have wānanga and discussions amongst ourselves, and then we decided that the marae was still important, and in fact we wanted our children to have the opportunity of growing up on a marae like we did. So then we started to make some plans, and we started to decide about, well, how are we going to do this? And I guess too, just to put some more context into the story, we are bereft of kaikaranga and kaikōrero in this area. We were, not so much now. Kua tipu tētahi reinga. And so whilst that's a bad thing, we turned that deficit into a positive, in that there was a vacuum created, and so us young ones were able to step into that. That means now we've had time to learn, whereas if that hadn't have happened, we may not have been afforded those opportunities. One of the things that we decided is that we had to attract people who had kids. Okay, we thought, well, if we get mum and dad and if we get the kids interested again, then ka hoki mai rātou ki te marae. So we started to plan, and like I said, in the past we've done strategic planning. Like every other Māori organisation, we get an outsider to come in, they do a strategic plan on us, we read it, we open up the bottom drawer and we put the strategic plan in there, and then we don't look at it again. And then we found this, and I'm sure many of you know what this is. This is a path planning tool, and we were very, very grateful that at a time where we were trying to figure out what does our tomorrow look like, then we had this opportunity to go through this. So this was done in February 2013. Te ara ki mua omaka, the next generation is what it's called. And through here there are a number of different things that we wanted to be able to tick off. To date we've completed over 90% of everything that we said that we were going to do. So we started to redevelop and regenerate the marae, and one of the things that we thought is that we needed a core crew, the inner circle, and they were the crew that we're going to start to help to revitalise the marae. And when you're going through this journey, the crew doesn't have to be big. They just have to be committed. The second thing that we decided is that no matter what, we were going to be kaupapa driven, not contract driven. So what that meant for us is that we weren't going to be service providers. There were enough Māori service providers out there doing their thing. But anything that we'd done, it had to be grassroots, it had to come from the family, and it had to be kaupapa driven, and it had to, in time, be able to stand on by itself. So we started to develop different kaupapa. We revitalised a kapahaka group of ours called Omaka Horomai. That group hadn't been revitalised for some years, and so we started that up again. That morphed into Parkers, which is a program that we run, an after-school program, and then we started to get some real momentum in terms of people coming back to the marae. And then in 2014, this amazing thing entered into our space. Te pūtahitanga o te Waipounamu. As I said, until then we had decided that we weren't going down the funding track, because when we were sitting across the room for funders, I didn't know what they were saying, they didn't understand what I was saying, so we just got hōhā with each other and then we left the room. Te pūtahitanga came and they started talking about the spirit of Māui. Where is the next Hawaii? And we're like, yeah, that's us. They started talking about social entrepreneurship. We didn't know what that was, but it sounded cool, so that's what we started calling ourselves. So like every whānau group throughout Te Waipounamu, we too started to develop our application. And this is our little first video. Can we push play, please? Kia ora whānau, here at Omaka Marae, our kaupapa is based on the whakatauki, he tangata akuna ki te marae, tauana. Basically, we want to create as many opportunities as possible for our whānau to connect to each other and to te ao Māori. We're going to do this by driving 4 different kaupapa. The first one is the establishment of an out-of-school program based here at the marae for our tamariki. The second one is the establishment of a whare tūtaua. The third is investigating the establishment of a kura Māori. And the fourth one is a Māori business venture which develops, grows and produces and sells Māori-inspired cuisine. He tangata akuna ki te marae, tauana.
Kia ora, here at Omaka Marae we'd like to establish a kaupapa Māori out-of-school program to teach our tamariki things like pepeha, waiata, cultural food gathering, amongst many other things. Tangata akuna ki te marae, tauana.
Kia ora whānau, the reason why we want to establish a whare tūtaua here at Omaka Marae is so that our whānau have the opportunity to live healthy kaupapa Māori lifestyles through learning the art of maurako. Tangata akuna ki te marae, tauana. Hui, hui, ah!
Ko tā tātou hia ki te whakarite I tētai kura Māori, ei whakapanake I ngā whakatipuranga mō ngā rā kei mui a tātou. Kia tū Māori ai tātou. Tangata akuna ki te marae, tauana.
Kia ora whānau, our business venture here at Omaka is to establish marakai and employ whānau to produce and sell Māori cuisine products. And eventually we hope to raise revenue for the marae. So we already have a kawakawa jelly, a lime and horopito sauce, and a kamokamo chutney. He tangata akuna ki te marae, tauana.
Whānau, we're on a mission. It's about rangatiratanga, it's about whānau transformation. We have the passion, we've even got the blood of Māori running through our blood. So, te pūtahitanga tautoko mai. E te whānau Omaka Marae, tūturu au ki te whakamara mai kia tīna! Tīna! Hui ai! Tākie! So that very high-tech video that Creative Araki and that will not be very impressed with, that was our little starting point in terms of showing te pūtahitanga where we were, and that we were already doing some stuff, but that with their support we were able to go a little bit further. And then within a year, so there were 4 pākids, which we'll talk about later on, which is our after-school program, Tuffet, which is our marae-based gym, Manake, which is our social enterprise, which is our condiments, and Kura Māori, which was our school that we wanted and now we'll be having at our marae. So within a year we transformed from that to this here. Kaura Pā Wānanga is our latest kaupapa here at Omaka Marae, and it's really a return to the thought that our marae is a living, learning village. Tērā no te whakatauki, he tangata akuna ki te marae tū ki te ao tauana. So that talks about a person that is well connected to their marae, to their pā, learns all the values and then is able to go out and participate in the global village with confidence. So we already have a number of initiatives and kaupapa happening on the marae, like kapahaka, like pākids. At the moment we've got 4 pou that are part of Pā Ora. One of the first ones is Pākids. Pākids is our after school marae-based leadership program for our babies and their whānau.
Part of what we do during our Pākids session is we're trying to
Whāngai Tia Te Reo, and we are bringing our whānau in. They accompany their babies, so they're learning as a whānau together to be able to take it out to their homes and into their wider community.
I love coming to Parkers. I bring my moko here, and it's a special time. It's about empowering the family to become responsible for their own lives, and it's so relevant today.
The other kaupapa or the other po that we have is a whareha kinakina, and so that's about promoting kaupapa Māori healthy lifestyles for whānau.
What I love about these evenings is that it's a real whānau environment here, and that our tamariki are learning their tikanga as well as the kaupapa that we are Māori and that we are healthy and that we're developing strong children and strong bodies and strong minds as well.
It's getting better every time, just love it. Bring with whānau, a healthy mind, healthy body.
I'm one of these people that have probably brought every membership to every gym and always sat in the car park, whereas with our whānau atmosphere here it's so much easier. Coming in, it's relaxed and everybody supports everybody.
The third one is a business enterprise for the marae, and so we believe as part of our rangatiratanga and our self-determination here at the marae is that we have to be self-sufficient.
So here we are in the Marae Kota, and this is where all the action happens for our business enterprise called Manake Preserves. So at the moment we are working on 3 products. Our first one is a lemon and horopito sauce. We have a kawakawa jelly and a kamokamo pickle as well. So this is our little business venture that we hope one day will become self-sustaining and go towards all of the awesome kaupapa we have happening here at Omaka Marae.
The fourth po, and probably the really big legacy one for us, is the investigation of establishing a kura here at the marae.
So this is our stepping stone. Parkers is this little thing that we're doing, and we've seen the need for it. We've got the hunger from our whānau.
We're giving our babies the opportunity that both my husband and I didn't get when we were younger. We'll be over the moon wrapped if we can have our own kura up here.
Hopefully we're the example where other marae can look at how they're able to develop the paora concept within their communities. So now I just want to quickly talk about each of the 4 different posts. So we'll start with Tuffet. Tuffet is our marae-based gym that we have at the marae. Modern circuit training and Māori movement, Māori mindfulness. So it runs in 8-week blocks. Currently we do different circuit training and maurako, and what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to add boxing, jiu-jitsu, wakaamo into all of those aspects as well. We're also working on a swipe card type of system at the moment, so whānau can come in outside of classes. But this is what a Tuffet session will look like. So we've got 2 little videos here. We are whānau Tuffet, our first session for the year. Absolutely thrilled with everybody that's turned up. Just a nice little exercise to start off with. There's all the whānau getting fit, getting those gains. 2017. Massive. Got a pram in here too. Tamariki, ko tai mai. Here we are, Tuffet, getting those gains. Power fit, Tuffet. If you're keen, come down with us. Private message us on our Facebook page. Getting fit together, whānau. So as you can see with that one, all different ages coming together, getting healthy together. This next part is some of the Māori movement. So tū waiwai, ti rākau, rākau roa, rākau poto, taiaha, patu. Rākau tū, toro pai pai. Rākau tū, toro pai pai. Hoi! So that's Tuffet. And just to have a quick pause here and just to say that when we entered into the hothouse and when we put our application in, I'm sure we scared all the navigators because they're like, you got 4 different kaupapa here. And we really did struggle in terms of going through the process, but we had to keep true to what we wanted as well. And we thought the whole vision of Pāora Pā Wānanga was about having a thriving village, and we felt like these were the 4 aspects that we really needed to work on at this time. So now we turn our focus to Manake condiments. So you've seen Manake before. It was really a social enterprise for us. Te Ururo came down pre-Te Pūtahitanga. One of the things that he said, and one of the things that resonate with us, is that the marae needs to be self-sustaining. And so through the rentals, through the leases of other organisations that we have on the marae, we were doing okay. And then we thought, well, how else could we develop some social enterprises? And so Manake came into our space. And really quickly, Manake turned from a product in a jar that had been written on to this. And again, if you were at breakfast this morning, you would have tasted the Manake made by our beautiful aunties. And so Māori culture in the jar really sums up in terms of our branding and our positioning. Again, when we're putting ourselves out there, we want to be authentic and we want to be the best that we can be. And so in a short time, this is what we've been able to develop. The whole Manake whakaaro came about, we went inside ourselves again and we thought, what are we good at? Well, we're good at manakitanga. Okay, so let's break that down. And then we started looking at our pātaka kai, our cupboard. And one of the things that we realised is that back in the old day, the aunties never came through the front door without bringing a plate with them that they home baked themselves. And then we realised that we had lost that art. And then we started talking about preserves and all those type of things. And so we thought, well, actually, that's something that we really want to be able to bring back to life. And so at that time, Māori herbs, rongoa Māori, were really being utilised in cuisine, and particularly a high-end cuisine. So that was a space that we wanted to explore. So you'll see that most Māori products have a real male branding element to them. It's whakaaro, it's the koru, it's all that type of stuff. Because it was based on manakitanga and the aunties, then it had to be feminine. So these crosses that you see on here, they are actually the stitching on the tukutuku panels. Yeah? Everyone goes, oh, yeah, great te kitea. The palette that we've chosen for each of the brands, so each jar, the colours came from within our wharenui. Even that in itself was an opportunity to, we don't have to go somewhere else and be someone else. We can be ourselves. And so, again, we went into our whare kōrero, and this is what we found in there. And so all of our branding is based on that kind of stuff. So here we have our kamo pickle. Our kamo is grown up the marae. It is planted, weeded, and picked by the wider whānau, and particularly our tamariki down here. These are our hero shots. Horopito and lemon sauce, and we'll get to talk a little bit more about these later on. Kawa jelly, probably the favourite of the 3 for a lot of people. And like I said, we have our aunties. Our aunties are like our brand ambassadors. And so what we wanted to do is that we wanted to honour our legacy, our old aunties, our nannies, and then also acknowledge that the new generation, what we call the hot aunties, coming through. So push play and we'll introduce you to some of the aunties.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko whaia Kiley tōku ingoa. I love being a part of the Omaka Māori Women's Welfare League, and I'd like to talk about the sustainability of the mara kai that the children and the aunties are all involved with. I love my tamariki being a part of the marakai because they were involved in learning the whole process that happens from planting broad beans last year to get more zinc in the soil, why that was important for growing a kamokamo for the pickle. They were also involved with weeding the garden because that's a really important process as well. And then they got to participate in harvesting the kamokamo, watching us aunties cut it up and then making the pickle. And so it's a great thing that they're a part of. They're seeing something sustainable and learning something that's going to help them when they get older.
Sorry, wrong one. Wrong hot auntie.
Kia ora, I'm Teneke, I'm one of the aunties. Nau mai haere mai ki te marae o omaka. My favourite product that we make is the horopito and lemon sauce. The reason I like it probably is because I tried it on Koda crayfish, which is like my ultimate favourite, and it tasted amazing. The horopito and lemon sauce, you can also just use it as a dip. I mean, it is so versatile, and our tamariki like it, our husbands like it. So yeah, it's definitely something that the whole whānau can really enjoy. The writing that you see immortalised on the jars is mine. And the way that writing came about is actually because I'm such a perfectionist, and I wanted to be able to draw a right straight on a page and on the board and even on chalkboards. That didn't work out for me. So then I decided to stylise it a bit and funky it up, and that's where the writing came in.
So those are our aunties. Our third kaupapa is Pa Kids. Pa Kids is an after-school program, but it's a lot more than that. In fact, calling it an after-school program really doesn't do it justice in terms of what it does, in terms of intergenerational transformation of reo and tikanga. Again, we have been bereft in that here in the Wairau, here in Te Tauihu, and throughout all of our iwi. And so a few years ago we got together, and it was just real simple, practical language stuff. Yeah, things that you can put back into your family. And again, we were trying to attract people who had kids. Okay, so get up, wear your socks, change your undies, have a shower, have some Weet-Bix. That was the extent of our contextual planning, because we have to make te reo Māori normal again. And if it can't be spoken about across the breakfast table, and if it's only left to those formal occasions on the marae, the language will die. Yeah, the language will die. And so this for us was a real eye-opener for us in terms of having to really drill down to what it is and what does that mean to normalise te reo Māori and how to whakamana te reo Māori and all those type of things. And so our Pa Kids, we call them our Jedi in training. And we've got some of our Jedis here. Pa Kids! Oh, really? Pa Kids! Ka pai. So these are some of our Pa Kids, and actually when we went to the hot house, we didn't have a name for it. And then at the end of it, one of the matua there, Norm I think, he was giving us some feedback, and he said, you are developing the next generation of Pa Kids. And we were like, man, that's a mean name. We know what it feels like to be that snotty-nosed Pa Kid. And we want them to know what that feels like. We want them to know what it feels like to be brought up on a marae. Maybe not with a snotty nose, but to be able to be in a position where they can work the marae. So this little crew down here, they know how to set up for a pōhiri. They know how to set up a cup of tea station. They know how to go and do the marakai. So these are all the things that we are instilling into them at a really, really young age. So this is our fourth kaupapa, and probably at the moment the jewel in our crown. And our vision was that we wanted our kids hanging out with us all the time. We know that our kids succeed as being Māori when they're at wānanga, when they're at tangi, when they're with uncle, when they're with such and such. However, we still continue to send them off to mainstream school every day of the week, 9 till 3. And they get to be Māori in the weekend wānanga. And we were just like, that's crazy. And so we started our thinking process again, and each one of these has its own strategy behind it, but it was, okay, so what does that look like for us? And what that looked like for us was that, and knowing too that as far as we were concerned, this model hadn't even been developed yet, was that we wanted a kura on our marae. And when we first went around telling people that that's what we were going to do, they were like, no, you're not. And we say, yes, that's what we wanted. And so we have a vision called Te Pā Wānanga. Te Pā Wānanga will weave everything in that we currently have, but again, it will supersize it. You know, being a Jedi in training a couple of days a week, opposed to being in Jedi training Monday to Friday and weekend wānanga, the position that these kids are going to be in when they graduate throughout Te Pā Wānanga, we would never have seen this type of rangatahi and graduate in this rohe. I keep on saying, and particularly to our older ones, I say to them, you know, I thought I was cool when I was your age. I'm not as cool as you guys. You guys aren't even going to be as cool as the graduates of Te Pā Wānanga. And again, in terms of our tomorrow, that's what we want to be able to be producing. Confident cultural practitioners, homegrown leadership. So Te Pā Wānanga for us is an innovative kaupapa Māori learning village. It will be the incubator of the next generation of our leadership. These tamariki will become the navigators, the leaders of our families, iwi and marae. Just to point out, when we first went out, we were talking about kura kaupapa, tūturu rawa te reo. And then we went out and talked to our families and they're like, bro, I'm out. If you go kura kaupapa, we can't enroll because ka whakamaho, I will be embarrassed. How am I to communicate with my kids? So then we thought, okay, so what is the mix? What is the model? And the model for us, the model that works for us, and we're not saying that it works for everybody, but the model for us is that the kaupapa, the philosophies, the values come from a Māori worldview. They come from local narratives, and the language is bilingual, with the thought of extending that language. So no te ao. So these are some of the visionary statements that we come up with. Imagine a world where our marae, our whenua and moana are the classrooms, where our cultural identity, language and knowledge are the centre post of the curriculum. An environment where our tamariki are confident in their Māoritanga, where academic or sporting attainment does not mean compromising your culture and identity, where succeeding as Māori is the norm. Where our tamariki parents and kaumātua learn together, no mai ki te pā wānanga. So we thought, last year we thought, oh yeah, maybe about another 5 years. And then kapua wai mai tēnei whakaaro. And then we've been working on this kaupapa for 2 years. And then last year we got notified by the ministry that we had secured funding to establish 2 classrooms up at Omaka Marae. And I guess a couple of things there. One was our partnership. So we had a partnership with Rimwood School. And we currently come under them, their systems in terms of their governance structure. But the other thing that we really honed in on is that Marlborough is the only place where there is no bilingual unit or no kura kaupapa in New Zealand. And so once we figured that out, we hammered that. And we pulled our pā kids out in front of the ministry and we said our children deserve this opportunity like every other children in Aotearoa. So our catchphrase, Te Pā Wānanga, it takes a village. So these are a couple of videos. So before Christmas of last year, we had buildings starting to turn up on site. And this is what that looks like. Morena e te ao, neira te marae omaka e mihi ana ki a koutou. So just a little bit of an update on our kura, te pā wānanga. So, last Thursday we had the Maori stone put into the ground. Lovely dawn ceremony for that. The day after we had the construction site fence go up. And right now we have a little bit of activity happening at the pā. And our whare, our buildings are starting to arrive up here for our new pā wānanga. So, needless to say, another momentous occasion here at the marae. Here's the construction fence. These are the prefab buildings that have been brought in. What will happen is that they will slowly be moved into position, put together, foundation poured. But yeah, really exciting seeing these coming onto site today. So ngā mihi ki te hunga I kaha tautoko mai a mātou. Not too sure if you can see it, but just through the fence there, with that little patch of dirt is with the spray paint, that's where we put our Maori stone. So yeah, Mines, Paora, Pāwānanga, it takes a village, people. Let's get it on. And then there's just this next one here as well. Oh well, kia ora tātou. Here we are with some of the buildings of the new kura, te pā wānanga, being moved into place. So by the end of the day, all of these prefabs will be joined together. It's been real good to go inside too and have a look at the different colours that we've chosen on the walls, which you might not be able to see from here, but yeah, progress is happening. Paora pā wānanga. So that's us, that's our whare, and again, those that came up today would have seen that at breakfast time. They say in 2 weeks' time the buildings will be completed, but the buildings are buildings. We decided that we were going to start with 20 children. Those positions have now been taken, and we now have a waiting list, which tells us that there is certainly a demand out there for the model that we are proposing. We suspect that in the next 5 years, te pā wānanga will grow to around about 50 to 60 young children here raised in the Waido. Yeah, so I guess the other thing to attach to that is that we are still looking for a teacher, people. And I thought you people are well connected. So this here is a little video clip about te pā wānanga. It's on the marae page. Like I said, we close on the 30th, I think, of March. But tukuna tēnei ki tau. We want the right person to lead this kaupapa on our behalf. So if you could help us spread this message. Push play, please.
Pāwānanga is a learning village, somewhere where our children can go to be immersed in those things that make us strong in our identity and in our culture and in our language. Pāwānanga is searching for a teacher who is strong.
We are currently looking for a kaioko
who is knowledgeable in curriculum,
who is able to teach from a kaupapa Māori point of view,
who has a strong affinity and a desire and a passion for teaching.
You're going to be the founding teacher of this school, someone who is really eager to get out there and to make a mark.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko tēnā kasma tōku ingoa. So I'm one of the mamas here at Omaka Marae.
Kia ora, my name is Nepia and I am one of the parents here at Omaka Marae that is interested in enrolling my child at Te Pā Wānanga.
I've been involved with Te Pā Wānanga right from the beginning, just the kōrero, and it's exciting to me because we have a really strong connection here at Omaka Marae.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the development of Te Pā Wānanga and having a school base on Omaka Marae, not only because it'll be a place where my children can nurture their reo, but I think that it is the best place for them to explore and grow in their culture and their identity.
I'm just really excited to see
what is going to happen in that whole day. You know, when they've been at school before, they've had to do it extracurricular. They've had to really fight for the reo and for that sort of environment to be in around like-minded people.
I think it's really special that we've teamed up with Greenwick School because of their infrastructure and their experience already. You can't replicate the things that our children are going to get at Te Pāwānanga in mainstream schools, basically. But I know that they're also going to get the education and their achievement levels as well.
I get really emotional thinking about that.
You know, this has been a dream and an aspiration of our community for a long time, and we are in a position where we have now been able to design a place where cultural identity is at the heart of everything that they do. We want to encourage anybody that is interested to come and to help lead this project.
Te Pāwānanga, it takes a village.
So like I said, everybody, those are our 4 kaupapa. We are still looking for a teacher. Please put that out through your network. It really needs to be someone special who's going to lead this kaupapa on behalf of our community, but someone that can see the opportunity for what it is. You will grow into senior management and principal positions with this mahi. So on behalf of mātou o te marae o Omaka, tēnei mātou e tuku nei I te kupu mihi. Kia ora.